So before I introduce our speaker, I'd like to share a few thoughts with you. As we said, at the Opportunity Coalition, we find our identity in serving Colorado's communities through enterprise, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. I'm sure it's safe to say that each of us here intend to create opportunity and connection for all those we work and interact with on a daily basis. This, to me, is the linchpin of community, reaching out, making connections, and fully participating in order to help improve our society. Tonight, we will engage in just that as we hear from one of Colorado's community media leaders. Hyper-local. Hyper-local, not a word that I often throw around on a daily basis, but hyper-local media usually refers to reported information that centers on a specific, defined community, offering stories that are tailor-made to their specific interests and needs. This media serves the community by attending to their issues with more complexity and detail than a large newspaper ever could. This evening, I'd like to offer a few thoughts on this topic and its fundamental principle, which is central to each of us. Number one, clickbait really isn't that great. Yes, we had to put a little rhyme in there. That's about as good as I can do as a commercial real estate guy. So, many media gurus today will say that the only successful news is the sensational attention grabber that will shock the average person into clicking or reading. How many articles do we see over and over again where it's the next greatest calamity and it's happening on a daily basis? And they're doing that because they constantly want to get your attention. Vice, Huffington Post, Politico, BuzzFeed, Mashable, and a few other digital media sites are taking over the national media scene. In fact, they have created about 60% of the digital journalism jobs in just the past 5 years alone. But what is missing from this kind of broadcast is one aspect of the human experience that only local news can cover with the deep, rich journalism it deserves. The living, breathing, messy, and necessary intricacies of the immediate community around us, our local community. Number two, local news speaks to us in a way that national news just simply can't. Native news speaks in local dialects, colors, and tones. So for instance, when I'm on the East Coast doing business and I start talking about wanting a pop or getting a sack or going up to the high country or saying, "you bet," they laugh at me and like, what in the world are you talking about? And then my friends down in the South, when they throw out the old y'all, and then the one I've never really figured out, the y'all, which I'm wondering how many y'alls is that? But I'm sure it's several. I figured that out. There's a certain identity expressed by this locale-specific media that defines and informs a particular group of people that still live and work in the same vicinity. It can be nuanced and specific, unlike broad media, which allows these connected people to become aware and informed about local issues for which they could have opinions if they only knew about them. It takes a great deal of courage to be journalistically honest. Think about that, journalistically honest, in a community of people who know you and know one another. It was the Tabor City Tribune in North Carolina that wrote against the Ku Klux Klan in the 1950s. Before doing so was kosher. The editor, W. Horace Carter, persisted as his community's voice against the KKK, despite death threats and ultimate isolation from a large number of people who disagreed with him. In the end, however, his commitment to providing discussion and facts in his community won him the Pulitzer Prize, because mankind values those who can fight for the people in their community. And I would add to that, they value especially those who have a little or no voice at all. Think about people in our community today who have little or no voice at all, but we can help give them that platform. It is daring and difficult to subject oneself to community, but ascribing value to the people is absolutely essential. Local journalism doesn't start with a deadline. It starts with community connection and knowledge. We have Scotty Iverson here tonight, and she's always writing stories about the local community right here in Greenwood Village and surrounding areas. She knows about those because she's here, because she's breaking bread with people and living life with them. It means engaging with people, serving their needs for information and relationship, and providing an opportunity for discussion that will improve and edify a group of people looking to thrive. Furthermore, there is a meaningful, sensitive balance in local reporting, how a newspaper chooses to present a national crisis alongside the story about the local high school baseball team or a new local nonprofit in town says something about being human. We must learn to harbor global disasters alongside of the smaller victories and cataclysms of daily life. And we are called to serve and communicate with people around us in the midst of these realities. Number 3, hyperlocal media is able to put community before crunch time. Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives Paul Ryan once commented, "Every successful individual knows that his or her achievement depends on a close community of persons working together." Novel concept, huh? Local journalism relies on this kind of collaboration in order to succeed. The reporters must put themselves in the line of fire in order to pursue good, true comments, since the people they write about literally may live next door. In the end, they must tell the truth or struggle, because the people who are reading really care that they get it right. Shouldn't we all strive to tell the truth in this way? After all, our relationships are how we participate in something bigger or greater than ourselves. We should be unceasing and insistent about the ideas spinning around in our local sphere of people, because our ideologies tie us together and guide us forward. As we hear from the owner and CEO of Colorado Community Media, Mr. Jerry Healy, may we remember to cherish the communities in which we live and the opportunities they provide to know, serve, and support one another. So for those that don't know much about our speaker, let me read his bio to you. Jerry is the owner and publisher of Colorado Community Media, as I said. This builds stronger communities by helping people enjoy a better life through creating relevant and useful connections. It does this by delivering hyper-local content. We all know what hyper-local is now. If you don't, I can go through the 3 points again, but I know you don't want me to 16 Denver metro communities through its 17 print publications, websites, social media, and digital offerings. It has more than 300,000 weekly readers and is Colorado's largest local community outlet. Jerry has been involved in publishing on and off since graduating from Northeastern University with a degree in marketing. His first positions were with the Miami Herald and then the Providence Journal. In 1990, he purchased his first weekly newspaper with his wife, Ann, and through acquisitions built it to 3. In 1997, he sold the newspapers, and Jerry worked with the new owners helping to create Colorado Community Newspapers. In 2000, Jerry received a Master's of Science in Management degree from the University of Denver, where he later became an adjunct professor. He owned a Vail-based high-end glass and mirror shop, was a mergers and acquisition advisor, and a volunteer with the Rocky Mountain Clean Tech Open. At the Clean Tech Open, he trained startups how to succeed with their solar, biofuels, battery storage, air, and water businesses, and helped launch more than 50 startups that have raised millions of dollars. And I would add to that, created many jobs and put lots of bread on people's tables. In 2012, he formed Colorado Community Media. During the past 4 years, the company has integrated operations, launched new websites, redesigned print products, rolled out many digital advertising offerings, and increased Colorado Press Association awards fourfold. A little-known fact is that Colorado Community Media has 5 newspapers more than 100 years old, with the oldest being the Golden Transcript, celebrating its 150th anniversary this year. With that, help me welcome Jerry to the front.